spoiler alert here and say that I do have a couple of baseball rivalries in here, as we've been teasing this segment for weeks. Me and Josh vehemently disagree on what are the best rivalries. We don't necessarily disagree on that it is a rivalry. We disagree on how we feel about the rivalry, our excitement going in every game, how much the rivalry matters. And I know this list is going to be different for both of us, and I don't know if either of us are going to have the same rivalry on both lists. That's how different I think this could be.
I have a feel. I'll tell you this, it was hard trying to put together this list because there's so many rivalries I looked at. I'm like, I like that one, but I don't know if it's top 5. And
No, I was the same way, which, this whole argument has stemmed over Duke and North Carolina, as well as Ravens Steelers and a couple other
spoiler
main
alert, those are
rivalries.
my top 2 rivalries.
No surprise there. And just to tell you, spoiler, neither of those two are on my top 5.
Damn.
So, again, just to show you what the difference is between our two thinkings, I went with more current rivalries more so than historic rivalries, with history tied into the current aspect of the teams.
Okay.
So I'll start here. I'm going to go from 5 to 1. So 1 is my top rivalry, to be clear.
Okay.
Number 5, from Major League Baseball, these two teams have played each other in the last 2 postseasons, once in the divisional series, once in the wild card round. These two teams battled all the way neck and neck to the division till the very last day of the season last year. Kind of biased because we live in the city. I have Guardians Tigers at number 5. I think that this will be, moving forward, one of the MLB's best rivalries, if it isn't already. Both the teams are young, both the teams are talented, both teams have played very similar styles. There's clearly a rivalry from the fans on both sides with the geography connection. And again, the last 2 times these two teams have played in the postseason have been magnificent baseball.
I will, before you continue, I will tell you this. I do have Cleveland, Detroit on my list, not the Guardians and Tigers, though.
Number 4, we're going to the National Football League. We're going to one of the best divisions, if not the best division in all of football. This is the oldest rivalry in the NFL, and it is going to become one of the rivalries in the NFL if it's not already moving forward, because the Bears finally have a quarterback to compete with the Green Bay Packers. I have Bears Packers at number 4.
Okay.
At number 3, we're staying in the NFL. This is a very recency bias answer, because I don't think this will be a rivalry for long, but I think the rivalry started this year, and I think over the next 2 years, it will be even more epic than what we had this past year. These two teams just finished playing what you and I deemed after the Super Bowl to call the real Super Bowl in the NFC Championship game.
I like where you're going with this.
Rams, Seahawks.
I like where you're going with that.
Number 2, I said it a while ago, maybe a year ago on this show. I thought this rivalry has jumped Yankees, Red Sox as the best rivalry in baseball, bar none. They have all the star power. They have the fights. They have the playoff battles with some epic games.
I know where you're going with this one.
Dodgers, Padres.
Okay.
And number 1, without a doubt, in my opinion, may not always be the best product of the field. And this is more of a fan rivalry because these two fan bases cannot stand each other.
Oh, I know what rivalry you're talking about. It involves your team.
No, it doesn't, because they have an acronym called That Team Up North. We're going to college football. Ohio State Michigan, the game, the rivalry. That is my list.
The fact that you did not have Eagles Cowboys on there as an Eagles fan?
It is not. I told you this 2 years ago. The Commanders are now our biggest rival. The Eagles and Cowboys are not as big of a rivalry as it used to be because the Cowboys are not as good of a team as they used to be.
I was fully expecting Cowboys Eagles to be on your list.
By the way, that they were in consideration, as was Steelers Ravens, as was Duke North Carolina, Alabama Georgia in college football. I considered as well, but that, in my opinion, has lost some luster since Nick Saban has loved. I feel the same way about Alabama Georgia. So there's a lot of rivalries to me that have just lost a little bit of that luster because of external factors, if you will.
I will tell you this, Yankees Red Sox is not on my list. Like, part of it is that rivalry gets shoved down our throats. Like, anytime Yankees Red Sox is on, it feels like they put it on national TV, whether it's Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN or on Fox on Saturday. Like, I get it, but as much as I, love seeing the Yankees and Red Sox playing each other, it gets a little, like, it loses some of its excitement level, if you get what I mean.
Totally agree.
And I want to love that rivalry again. I really do. Their playoff series, I loved their I think it was a wild card series last year. I loved that series last season. And I'm like, this is what Yankees Red Sox is supposed to be. This is it. But it just gets shoved down our throats so much. Kind of like how Roman Reigns was shoved down our throats during the Vince McMahon days. And everybody just said, no. Kind of like how Cody Rhodes is now.
All right, Josh, let's get to your rivalries, bud.
Okay. I also have a Cleveland-Detroit rivalry at number 5, but not Guardians-Tigers, although I did agree with your analysis on that. But I think because J.B. Bickerstaff is now in the Motor City and it kind of really started this season, especially in that second game. Temper seemed to flare a little bit, and I was like, thank you. This is a rivalry I've been wanting to see reignite. Cavs, Pistons.
Oh, it used to be. The mid-2000s, it was a big rivalry. If you notice, by the way, I didn't have any NBA rivalries on my list.
Yes.
And Lakers Celtics didn't even come into consideration for me. So.
And I understand that, totally.
That's where I stand.
Like, I have kind of like what I was just saying about Yankees Red Sox. I feel kind of the same way about Lakers Celtics, that they try to shove it down our throat.
Now, I think if you want to ask me what are my all-time rivalries that I'm invested in, Cavs Warriors might be number 1.
Yes.
But it's not obviously a current rivalry.
No. But it really does feel like Cavs Pistons is on the verge of becoming a legit rivalry again.
Sort of maybe what you thought Cavs Celtics could have been. It does feel like Knicks Pacers could become a thing again if Tyrese Halliburton were to get back. Maybe Knicks Cavs or Knicks South, maybe somewhere with the Knicks.
Yeah.
Or Detroit.
Yeah, Knicks Pistons, I think, is the one that could really come to fruition. I did really think about Cavs Celtics because you know how much I love that rivalry. I've talked about it. It just missed. At number 4, I'm surprised you didn't even have this one on your honorary mentions list. And I get it. Nick Saban is no longer at Alabama, but it's still the freaking Iron Bowl, man.
Well, my reason is, when's the last time Auburn was good?
Yeah, but when Alabama plays Auburn, like, if you watch the Iron Bowl this season down in Auburn, that game came right down to the final seconds.
It did. I mean, that was the most memorable Iron Bowl since maybe the one where the Alabama field goal kicker missed the kick and Bama or Auburn returned it back.
Uh, you also had, I think it was Jalen Hurts. No, it wasn't Jalen Hurts. Bryce Young, I believe it was, throwing that game-winning touchdown pass in Auburn.
I don't remember that one at all.
Or it might not have been Bryce Young, but it was one of the more recent Iron Bowls where Alabama was trailing and they needed a game-winning touchdown to, well, be victorious. And the quarterback, I think it might have been Bryce, but don't quote me on that. He hit. It wasn't Devontae, because it wasn't during COVID. It was one of the more recent ones in the last few years. But he found the receiver in the back of the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. Of course, you also mentioned the field goal kick, the game known as the comeback in 2010. So I'm just like, that rivalry has had so many moments. And yes, Auburn hasn't been great in years. I get it. But still, it feels like when it's the Iron Bowl, that game's coming down to the wire. Even if Auburn really has nothing to play for. At number 3, I'm not surprised you didn't have any NHL rivalries on there because you're not a big hockey fan. But the Battle of Pennsylvania, it is real. Penguins, Flyers. As a Penguins fan, I cannot stand the orange and black of the Flyers. I do not like them. As well, there's a number of rivalries I could put here for the Penguins, like the Boston Bruins, the New York Rangers, or the Washington Capitals, but it's gotta be the Flyers. Flyers fans do not like Sidney Crosby. They've had some memorable Stanley Cup playoff matchups. And it's just a fun game anytime the Penguins play the Flyers. At number 2, Duke, North Carolina. Nothing else needs to be said. You had the freaking game-winning shot just a couple weeks ago. That's what Duke, North Carolina is. You had so many memorable players in this rivalry. Tyler Hansbrough, Shane Battier, Christian Laettner, Michael Jordan, just to name a few. Antoine Jameson, Tyler Hansbrough. I could go on.
JJ Redick.
Yes.
Jason Tatum.
Yes, Jason Tatum, Zion Williamson.
Yep.
You had legendary head coaches, Roy Williams, Mike Krzyzewski. North Carolina went on the road and beat Duke in Cameron Indoor in Mike Krzyzewski's last home game. They meet in the Final Four, and North Carolina wins to end Mike Krzyzewski's coaching career. And then at number 1, Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers. Week 18 was the perfect example of why I love this rivalry.
I'll agree with you there. Now, I almost had it at number 5. I will tell you. The reason why I took it off, and again, I looked at it more like the current state of the rivalry. I wasn't sure who the Steelers quarterback is going to be next year, and I don't know if the Steelers are going to actually stink or not. So that's basically the reason why I didn't have it at 5.
I like that Grandizer said this. NHL rivalries, because there are some great ones. You got Rangers, Islanders, the Battle of New York, Bruins, Habs. That's Bruins versus Canadians. For a while, you had Red Wings, Avalanche. That rivalry has kind of fallen off a bit because the Red Wings moved from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference. As I said, you've got Penguins, Flyers, Rangers, Capitals, Penguins, Rangers, Penguins, Bruins. God, there's so many great rivalries in the NHL. It's hard to remember all of them.
And I was right. We did not have one of the same rivalry within our top 5.
No, for God's sakes, I could have put USA Canada on this list because if you remember
Yeah,
in the Four Nations, what was it last year?
correct.
They dropped the puck, and what immediately happens? They drop the gloves.
You know, the one NBA rivalry I was thinking of that maybe could become something down the road, depending on if they play again in the postseason, Nuggets, T-Wolves. I mean, if we remember the epic 7-game series they had, if they play again, if that turns into something, like I think T-Wolves, Thunder, Nuggets, Thunder, somewhere out west, there's going to be a rivalry in there, I feel like.
Thunder Nuggets feels like it has more of a chance because all signs seem to be pointing towards Minnesota being the team that moves from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I agree with that. Grandizer, by the way, says old time rivalries, new time rivalries, one that has cooled down. Sharks Red Wings started in the mid 90s and ended around the 2000s.
As an NHL fan, I really don't remember Sharks Red Wings ever really being a rivalry. I would say it's more the California teams that have a rivalry with each other, whether it's the Sharks and Ducks, the Ducks and the Kings, because Anaheim and LA are basically next door neighbors, Sharks and Kings. I never really thought of Sharks and Red Wings as a rivalry. Oh, another one I forgot. Blackhawks Blues, Chicago and St. Louis. How can I forget that one?